This podcast contains adult content and adult language. In no way does this reflect the opinions of other contributors of Good Morning Gloucester or Homecast. Your discretion is advised.
Hey compari, che vuoi suonare? Che si suona o fiscaletto? E come si suona o fiscaletto? O fiscaletto, bibbidi babbidi boo.
Good morning, Gloucester. This is Alicia Unleashed. This is Fiesta Cast with the Sams. We got Sam,
hello,
aka
hello.
Samantha.
Yes, that's me.
And then we got her father, Samo.
Say hi.
How you doing, gang?
So, of course, last year for Fiesta Cast, we had Samantha on, but this year we're amping it up and we're bringing on.
We got double Sams.
We have B-side here too.
Yes.
Hey, okay, sorry, I forgot to introduce you. I was so excited to have the Sams. So we're amping it up with this Fiesta Cast because we have the legend.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Seriously, you know you're the legend. Yeah, exactly, right? So this is really all about them.
Yeah.
And traditions and Samo.
Yes.
Well, should we say Sam and Samo? Or
Yes.
what should we do, right? We'll just do Samo. Have you ever been in a podcast before?
No, this is my first.
Okay, awesome.
This is my
So
first.
you heard it. Alicia Unleashed got Samo first.
Yeah.
So this is what we do here.
Yeah.
Right?
And
This is what Alicia Unleashed does. We get the people that have never been on a podcast before. We put them on. Thank you, Bridget.
You're welcome.
She's the executive producer. She is the one that makes this happen.
This agreement went down in March, by the way.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a
It's-
long time in the making.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been because there was supposed to be a whole big group for June, but someone decided, and we'll talk about this on the hot plate, decided that they were just going to up and move. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to line up at least, the people I need to line up. So this is it.
So we'll talk about the hot plate right quick. So the hot plate this week is that I'm moving.
Yeah.
I'm moving to Amesbury.
That's right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So there's more of an echo in here now than there was before.
Right. Well, there are some boxes piled up over here on the side.
They're not as good at soundproof as,
Furniture.
your plates, your kitchen is empty. I don't
Yeah.
even know who this is anymore.
Yeah. So I'm moving very quickly, and I'm going to Amesbury, and I've been born and raised in Gloucester, except for the 6 years I lived in Georgia. Moved back here and starting my new life per se.
Amesbury's a nice place to live.
It is, and it's very up and coming, right?
Yes, it
so
is.
all of Newburyport has kind of like overflowed, and
I
now
fished out of Newburyport.
really.
Yeah.
And now everyone's going to Amesbury. So all of your awesome restaurants that you would have in Gloucester, they're in Amesbury, and all of the mills in the rushing river, they're turning them into condos. So it's very up and coming. It's the only place you can probably buy a house for under $200,000
As of right now.
as of right now. And
Until that market skyrockets.
Exactly.
And then you're going to have to move to Springfield.
that's why you want to get into Amesbury. That's why you want to buy. That's why you want to rent. That's why you want to get in. But for me, that's where I've been waiting until my kids have got are older. I have a freshman in college now, and I have a freshman in high school now. So ready to move on. So that's the hot plate.
Yeah.
It's really not that exciting. I'm not gonna.
Well, it's exciting.
It is, but I'm not going to stop doing Alicia Unleashed. Bridget still lives here in Gloucester, so a lot of things will just happen at Bridget's house.
That means I'm going to have to vacuum. Fuck.
Yeah, Boss Man thinks I'm moving to cross the country, but
Well,
Boss
you're going
Man,
over the bridge. That's
right?
big,
Right?
I tell people when they drive down Washington Street, these guys in front of the club, they go, "How do you get these jobs up in Maine? How do you get the sites on these boats?" I says, "Well, when you drive down Washington Street, there's 3 exits. One of them actually goes to a bridge." One guy said, "When did they put that there?"
Right?
So that's the mentality you have here.
And I call it island mentality.
Yeah,
wicked.
absolutely.
Right?
I shipped out of a lot of islands up in Maine, and it's the same thing. Everybody knows each other. Everybody knows each other's business.
Right.
It's actually worse, way worse than this place. If you can
I can't imagine.
It's just that you know everybody here. But when you fish out of these places for a little bit at a time, and people get to know you, they start talking about you and include you in the gossip. So you become fodder, if you will, or whatever you want to call it. And you coming from fishing, and I heard you was over this one's house, and that you were just doing this, and yeah, and they got guns up there, so you got to be real careful.
Yeah, not like here. Definitely different.
Yeah, and so this will come out. This will post up on Wednesday, and then Thursday is Fiesta.
It is
Yay!
actually
Wednesday.
technically Fiesta starts on
Technically,
Wednesday.
it's Wednesday. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're
we're
dropping this
running
on Fiesta
Yeah,
Wednesday.
we are technically dropping it on Fiesta.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
So when does Saint Peter comes out on?
Tuesday.
Actually,
Right?
Friday's
Friday.
the opening, official opening, but they bring the Saint down to the San Filippo residence down to the end of Beach Court on
Right.
Tuesday.
Oh,
and
okay.
and they have like prayers for people that have passed over the years.
Right.
And the older women are there, and it's really nice. It's like for the locals more than
Okay.
the
Right, of
general
course.
public. And the official is Wednesday is the start of the fiesta, the carnival and all that.
Right.
But the official opening, when they bring the statue down to the altar, is Friday.
Okay.
See, I used to go fishing up in Maine, and we'd come in Friday morning, and I'd be all pumped up because I got to get back to Gloucester, but I'd be
'Cause you have to be the
4 hours
opening.
away, and I got to carry the statue down to the altar now.
Right.
Right, so I was like freaking out. I got to take out these fish, and I got to get this done. And I'd be flying home on 95. I get into town about 6:30, and go right there and carry the statue down to the altar, and place the saint in the altar, and I missed that part. I had to stop doing that, but you know, my ailments and stuff got a hold of me. But yeah,
old.
those I'm not old. I'm
I
just
know you're not.
from the neck up. I'm 18. It's just from the neck down.
His body's old, excuse me. Not the mind.
40 years of fishing.
Not the mind.
40 years of fishing in the Northeast will do that to you.
And the only other time that St. Peter has been out of the club or out of Fiesta was at Cousin Donnie's funeral.
Yeah.
And that was the only Uncle
yes,
Donnie.
Uncle
That's
for
my
my
cousin Donnie.
brother-in-law
They
for my
requested-
dad.
And that's a
They-
brother-in-law for
Yeah.
Samo.
He used to call me his favorite brother-in-law because I was his only brother-in-law.
Well, that's that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
So St. Peter, yes, comes out during St. Peter, but that was the only funeral
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a great little story
thus
I did
far
for him.
that
Yeah.
St. Peter's ever been out. So that was a huge
Well, Leo
honor.
Sabata was the guardian, the guy that blows the whistle and,
Yes.
and commands everybody
Yes.
to lift at the same time for like decades. And my Gumbadi Larry was Leo's kid. He was always in the front. And I was fishing out of Maine, and I got a call on the boat that my Gumbadi Larry had an aneurysm and died. And it blew my mind. I mean, they had to carry me off the boat. I was freaking out. So they called me up and wanted me to be a pallbearer. So I told the skipper up in Maine, I said, look, gotta go back to Gloucester. This is an obligation. It's one of my closest friends. I'm going back regardless, whether I'm a pallbearer or not. But
Right.
I know the family real well, and they wanted me to be a pallbearer. So the skipper says, well, you can't leave. I says, well, let me rephrase the statement, because I'm not asking you to do anything. Whether I take my boots and oilskins with me and I go back to Gloucester, or you can just give me the 3 or 4 days off that I need and I'll come back. And I'm a real good cook on a boat, so they don't want they don't want to lose me. You know what I mean? Not to mention I know my business, but anyway, the skipper relented and I came back, and the next year is when they had the podium for St. Peter, and they put Larry's picture on it, which is still there today. And they left the space open. I ran home that particular trip because it was the previous year that I ran home to Gloucester, and I got into town, and it was very emotional for me because Larry wasn't there, and they left his spot open on the. So I carried a quarter of the statue by myself. Where there's usually 2 guys on each side.
Yeah.
I carried a quarter of it all the way down to the altar by myself. And I was very emotional, and and that year I dedicated my walk to my Gumbadi Larry, which was 2000. And I was 42 years old.
Which
won.
means
And everybody told me, "There's no way, you're all done. It was a fluke when you won in '87." I walked past the flag.
fluke.
I literally walked past the flag.
We have videos
5
of it.
times
Seriously.
and missed.
Yeah.
I've had
Oh, yeah.
I've
I
had
have
3
video
or
of it.
4 better walks than
Oh, yeah.
the 2 times I won and missed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, which you get sick all year. I don't even want to get into that, but anyway.
Well, we're getting into it.
Well,
I got
okay.
questions.
All right,
I worked
all
so
right.
hard on these since March.
That's cool.
man.
I'm here. But anyway, I carried the statue down, and it was very emotional. And lo and behold, that day, Sunday, I walked for Larry Sabato, and the whole fiesta was dedicated to him that year, and I won. And
Making him the oldest guy to ever win it.
And I was the oldest guy ever to win.
still holds
Salvi
it to
Benson's
this day.
the all-time champ. And
Okay, yeah, so how...
He was 38 the last time he won. So I shattered his record at 42.
Wow.
And everybody that sees Salvi says, I was talking to a guy named Samo. And he goes, yeah, I know. He broke my record. I know, he says. But Salvi was like the best. My cousin Peter probably would have superseded Salvi had he walked Saturday and Sunday because he won 7 Sundays in a row.
Which is
Right.
just
I'm going to say that again.
Frontiero,
Seven,
right?
seven
Sundays, yeah,
Sundays
in a row.
in a row.
That's unheard of.
And every year you see him winning. The pictures of me, I'm sitting on my perch in the front, and I get this big vunja on my face, right? Because I know my cousin Peter, he's like the third walker or the second walker,
so you know
and he smokes it.
second
And you
round
don't even
it's
get a
going.
second walk. So you wait 365 days, and you don't even get a chance to. If you get a second walk, you got no qualms. You know, I mean, you had your shot and you missed. But for 7 years, I didn't even get a second shot at the pole. And it's he's a Frontiero. It was great. He's my cousin. I love him. And but of course, every reign comes to an end. You know, every dynasty.
But yours has yet.
So, Peter Black, how old is he right now?
He's 50. He's turning 50. I just seen him the other
And
day.
he stopped walking when?
A few years back.
years ago, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So he doesn't want to try again?
no, he can't. He can't.
Okay.
He's
All
got
right.
he's got a lot of ailments too. He's
Okay.
been
His body's
retired for about 5-6 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, not for nothing.
Not
But
for nothing.
42, nowadays especially, is not old. It's
No.
super young.
But most of the
So,
guys up there
are you
retire.
scared? So, are you scared that someone's going to come out and just...
You know, I know that my record, everybody says no one's ever going to break that. And I says, you know what, if it was 62, I'd say you're right.
Right.
But 42, like, you're right.
It's young.
And-
But listen, there's
but
a lot
the-
of 42-year-olds that look like
But-
they're 62.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
that
true.
too. That's
and,
There's a lot of
and
30,
also,
20-year-olds who look like they're 60-something out there.
and also, getting back to the Greasy Pole, these guys that are in their, like, middle 30s, they get wives, they get kids, they get mortgages. I might get hurt. I mean,
Yeah,
get exhausted,
all
yeah.
right, and they just slow down, and they
what I was
and,
They're
and,
scared.
and,
They're
a lot,
scared.
and,
They
and
have a
you
lot
get
of-
apprehensive and scared. And once you get apprehensive and scared, you shouldn't be up there.
No.
That's why I retired more or less because I wasn't competitive anymore, and it killed me to stay on the beach. The first year I stayed on the beach, it went 7 rounds.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, it
I
did.
was sick.
7
I
rounds.
was sick. And you know who greased the pole that year? Me.
Monique and I
That
had
means you
him.
greased it too much.
Yeah,
We had him arm
the
in arm.
committee
We were
was
like,
bullshit
no.
at me.
No.
They were pissed at me.
Wow.
Because they
Wow.
wanted to go quick so everybody goes back to the carnival.
So,
and
You're
I gave it the
you're
old,
allowed to swear on this.
Yeah,
so
you're-
I gave it the old super duty grease. You know what I mean? I was mixing it like a Sicilian witch doctor on the way out. You know, pouring oil in the pinde and mixing it up. And oh yeah, so me and my cousin Peter and I showed. They wanted me to go and show like my cousin Peter and a few other guys how to do it because I used to grease it back in the day when Busty Pelazzola greased it.
so
So I'll tell you about the greasy pole. You're
Back to where we
right.
are.
You're right that it will be broken, my record, because 42 is.
So
There's a
young.
lot of good
Somebody,
guys up
somebody's
there.
gonna pull
Jim
one.
Silva,
Somebody's gonna pull one out of their ass and win one
Slips.
year.
Jake Wood by now was like,
I-
he's not 42
No,
right
yeah,
now.
he's what?
I'm gonna
He's
tell you
only
this.
30 something,
38.
right?
He's getting there.
I'll say
Yeah.
this about the greasy pole, right? About getting drunk, whatever they do, right? Because in the old days, we were all fishermen, more or less. I ran the list, and the first 15 guys were all my Gumbadis, and we all just got in from fishing. We all just went to air guitar, and Saturday was the walk. Not Friday, but Saturday's walk. And there wasn't like 200 guys that wanted to walk like there is today. There was like only a handful of guys. There was only like 20 of us.
Well, because
You know,
back
I
then you
got
had
pictures.
to be Italian or a fisherman.
Yeah,
You had
well,
to,
no,
there had to be
not
in the
really. You know,
community.
that kind of went by the wayside too. If you weren't a fisherman and you wanted to walk for a relative that was died that previous year, we'd put you on.
Right, but it had to be
But
within
it was,
the.
but it was in the.
It wasn't
was
some
in the
guy
circle.
coming out from out of
We-
town.
we
It
had
was
a-
in the lottery. Yeah, I gotta walk it
We
like
had
they
our own
do
little
now.
enclave down the fort, you know, and we're all Fort boys. We all grew up down there, and we all like we were like not gangsters like today, but we were the Fort gang.
You
and-
were the gang.
Yeah.
You were the
and we
gang.
ran the show. We ran the show, and the thing about Bananas, how we all started getting our costumes was, I walked by that place one day,
great.
or drove by it one day when it was in East Gloucester. And it used to be down Rocky Neck at one time, and it used to be also in East Gloucester by the Moody's Lights on the other side.
I didn't know that.
I drove by there and I says, wow, look at that secondhand clothes. Maybe. So the next day, me and 5 of my Gumbadis on Saturday morning went in there before the Greasy Pole, and this guy Richard was there. And next thing you know, lo and behold, everybody's been going there ever since. You know, and that's how that all became. And but we ran the list, and we'd always put like my Gumbadi Joe Biondo, who's passed away, God rest his soul. We put him first, and after he passed away, we put Mitch McGilvey first, the old man, not the son.
Stewie's.
So is that
father.
Stewie's dad?
Yeah.
Wow.
So one
okay.
year, so this is a pretty funny story. One year, this was we were partying really hard. We all met for breakfast, which was a bad idea. So we had breakfast, okay, if you will, and by the time 5 o'clock came along, I was seeing like 5 greasy poles. By the time I got up there, 5 flags. So anyway, we hold up Mitch to walk, and he takes one step and misses the pole completely and goes towards the breakwater.
Oh.
So now they hold me up. I go, I'm the first, you know, I was like slated as the guy that always came close. So I was like the guy, the top guy, but I never won yet. And this was before I won in '87. This was like in the late '70s.
So how old were you at this point?
Probably 20.
Wow.
I've been walking for 5 years.
When did you start walking?
15.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I got a picture of me. Yeah.
So you started walking at 15 years
It's
old.
on the
Yeah.
shrine. It's on the Greasy Pole Shrine.
Yeah.
That's
There's a
insane.
picture of him in
and this
his-
was so. Now do
I
you
grew
have
up down the
you
fort,
have to be
so
I know.
we used
but
to
now,
grease our own pole after the
Now
pole
you
and put
have
our
to
own
be-
flag up.
I know, but now they
You have to be 18, and you have to sign waivers,
Yeah.
and you have to do all these things that you
But
did not
okay,
have to
so
do
you
back
were walking.
then.
Okay, so carry on. But since you're 15, okay.
So now they hold me up, and I get up to take, and I go, let me go! And I take my first step, and my foot misses the pole, and my face smashes on the grease that's like a foot, like about 6 inches thick. The grease this is not Crisco like they got today. This is petroleum-based
This is real
axle
shit.
grease.
Yeah.
This is like the Environmental Protection Agency would go crazy on this shit,
Like
right?
it stayed in my shower for 360
Yeah.
Anyway,
days.
this
Yeah,
grease,
yeah.
this guy slammed my face so hard against the pole, the grease went up inside my eyeballs, inside my nose, down my throat. I threw up this big blob of grease on it, and I had this pink bridesmaid's gown on that was full length, come up like all the way up to the neck and zip it up the back. And it was dead low tight, and I wrapped around the pole. So 30 pounds of grease went inside this thing, and I fell in the water at dead low tide, and it wrapped around my head like a trash bag. So now I'm drowning, knocked out, right, drowning in the water, and I finally freed myself, and I look back at the platform, and there's no one there. They were all laying down laughing. So a couple of guys dove in off the boat. They used to walk, and they see me. I was having trouble. I was drowning. You know what I mean? I was swimming towards Blooming Bridge. I didn't even, I looked at the pole, and I didn't even know where I was. You know, but. And so they ripped the thing off me, and then I swam back, and then the next walk I won. That was in '87. That, by the way.
So that was the very first
yeah,
time.
That was in '87. It wasn't the late '70s.
Listen,
That was in '87.
we are only 19 minutes in, and this is
And
already
we
my
already have-
favorite podcast ever. And it's also the loudest podcast
Of
ever
course.
between the two of you.
I'm Sicilian. You tie my hands behind my back, I go mute. You know what I mean?
You got this one too with the magnet. It's like, bam! It's amazing right now. I'm loving because he's like hitting every question.
He's
I have
hitting
just
every
once.
question over here.
Let's do it.
We haven't even gotten to over.
I'm sorry.
here.
I'm sorry.
No, this is what it's
thing.
about.
It's
This
a
is what
good
it's about.
You know
I've
what?
never been one to I've always been one to tell a good story. That's
Right.
for sure.
Well, obviously.
I gave the documentarians
I'm gonna
that are
drink
doing
this, okay?
drink
Okay.
it. The documentarians that are doing the Pride of Gloucester. I gave them Sam's name to be in touch with you because they'll be in touch probably after Fiesta to get Fiesta stories and what it was like to grow up and be raised out on the fort and stuff like that.
I'll tell you about that. Growing up down the fort, see, I'm 60 years old. I've been to 60 Fiestas. They used to push me in the baby carriage and dress me up and put the pin on me.
Fiesta
White.
Whites?
Your Fiesta White.
Now
Yeah.
everybody understands why I'm brainwashed like I am.
Anyway, but when I was old enough, in the old days, when I lived across the street from Felicia Wharf, you knew Fiesta was coming when they put the red poles up. That was a sign, because they used to put red poles up and they put the lights on the poles. Not
Down at where? Down
Like-
at the fort?
There's a few of them left. If you look closely, there's a couple of them there now. But they'd run these poles all the way around the fort.
Which ones? Which
These
years?
were like red, like 4x4s. They were, but they're painted red. And this guy Modelazzo, I can't remember his name, but he used to make these elaborate Fiesta altars. And the altar wasn't where it is now.
Wasn't it at the State Fish Pier?
No, it was actually where Julie's Dory is, where Joey Pomazano's house is there, across the street from the Dory restaurant there, where the Chamber of Commerce is.
Yeah.
It was right across the street there, against that building that's there now that sells fish.
Okay.
It was against that building.
Oh, at
That green building.
Intershell.
Yeah,
At Intershell.
yeah.
That's,
It was
okay,
against
okay.
that. It was on that side
Okay.
originally. All right, and you know when they first started, of course, they had it in Favaz's house. That's how it all started. Peter Favaz's grandfather. That started right there, right down the foot. But in the old days, everybody used to open their doors up, and it was pasta and fish. Anybody wanted. It was a feast. It was a feast.
Right.
And the boats would tie up. And it ain't like now where you see one or two fishing boats. Back then we had iron men and wooden boats. Now there's wooden men and iron boats. You know what I mean? But anyway, they'd tie up the fishing boats, and they would put all the flags and they paint the boats up, and they would take all the boats out. All these family boats would all go out and they clear the decks, and they have these huge feasts. And they'd bring the cardinal on one boat, and they'd all go by the boulevard, and they'd get the blessing of the fleet. And it was really cool, it was just a sense of community and Sicilian heritage. These are the people who started this thing. It wasn't a carnival, which I understand
right.
that this is what it's going to be because they need to generate, income and stuff. It needs to carry on, and I understand whatever it takes, But in the old days, they went by donations from fishing boats, and that's what it was. And each boat would donate, and they'd have it on the chalkboard in the St. Peter's Club, how much each boat donated. So if one guy seen that boat donated a little bit more, and he would donate more. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was just like a status thing, more or less, amongst the Sicilians. But it was just a real sense of pride and community. And once those red poles come up, as a kid, I knew the Fiesta was coming, and I gravitated towards the Greasy Pole because as soon as I learned how to swim, I grew up on Pavilion Beach. As soon as I learned how to swim, I swam out to the Greasy Pole, and we would shimmy out to the end of it, right? And at high tide, a guy would come on with a little dinghy and give us the flag with a hammer and nails. We'd put the flag on, and we'd grease our way back into the platform, and we'd have our own walks all summer long.
And how old was that?
10, 11. This is what we did. So, my whole thing, watching, guys like Salvi Benson, Tommy Cavanaugh, these guys were great walkers back in the 60s. They were unbelievable. And Salvi grew up across the street from me down the fort. So, I aspired to be that good. He was a hero.
How old is Salvi now?
He's middle 60s. But pushing middle 60s towards 70. I don't want to. Salvi, I'm sorry, man.
You speak
I'm
of
bearing all
Salvi.
here, man.
You speak of Salvi as your elder, but you're 60, right? So I just want to know how much older Salvi really is.
But he's always been like a real good friend and confidant and hero of mine. And when I won in '87, it was great.
When did he first win? Do you know?
Oh, that was back. It was unbelievable.
In the 70s?
He won 13 overall flags.
How many?
13.
And how many of you won overall?
2. I missed about 4 or 5
Yeah.
people.
But he won
They don't-
13th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
He's the
every year,
winningest, isn't he?
every
He's
year
the
he'd get
winningest.
up, they'd walk it, they'd have the courtesy walk, and then Salvi would just go and bang, and that
Isn't
was
Salvi the winningest?
yeah. He's
Okay,
the
he
winner.
still is.
He
Yeah.
still is, yes.
And do you guys know who's second?
Pete.
Peter Black.
Peter Black.
And how many is he
9.
at?
9. Jake
Wait,
Wood
wait,
has
wait.
7.
Wait, Peter Black. Wait, Little Peter or
Yeah.
Peter Black?
No, Peter Black.
Peter
like,
Black.
Peter 50, Shila's.
Oh, okay,
Shila's
okay.
dad.
Yeah.
Because I know both, and I was like, wait,
Yeah.
they're both named
Peter Black was one of the best walkers, if not the best walker
Ever.
I've ever seen.
You could make
Salvi,
plans after the
but you
courtesy
can
round
go
on
with
Sunday
him and
because you didn't
Salvi
film
either
it.
way. But Salvi in his day was unbelievable too.
Yeah.
So I would never say one is better than the other to disrespect them because they're both equally. Salvi might be the all-time champ and everything, but in his day,
But the
when
finesse of Peter Black.
Peter was unbelievable. Like every time he got up, we would be shaking the pole. I'm his first cousin, and I'd be shaking the pole to throwing insults at him. You gotta fall because I want to walk this year. You know what I mean? I want a second walk, man. I mean, it's 7 years in a row. I didn't even get a chance to win it, for Christ's sake.
So talk about courtesy walk for a second. They
Okay.
do courtesy walk because if you're a newcomer and you get on courtesy walk, you're probably not going to be alive.
Well,
right?
one
So
year-
why do they give it courtesy walk? Oh
Okay,
no.
one year, when the courtesy walk started, because Tommy Cavanaugh one year was like the second walker, and he smoked it. He walked right out and won. And they said, "Wait a minute, we gotta."
And what year was this?
This was like in the early '60s, and
Oh,
and,
okay.
and they said, "Look, we gotta do something about this. So we're gonna have a courtesy walk." I think I'm almost sure that's how it happened, but because I remember as a
Because
kid.
what fun is it if,
Right. They
if
want-
the
everybody
first
should have a
person,
chance.
whatever gets
people.
it?
They want people to walk. So the idea of the courtesy walk is you walk for people that have passed in the last year.
Yeah.
Every year I walked, I dedicated my walk to somebody who had passed the year before, one of my friends or whatever, and that's like the premise of the courtesy walk. So you want everybody's name to be mentioned, out of respect.
Right.
And one year, this guy gets up. I'm not gonna mention any names, but one year this guy gets up, and we told him in Italian. We said, "No grab of the flag, the first to walk." And then we told him,
Say it in Italian. Say it in Italian.
"No grab of the flag, the first to walk."
I walked right into that.
And then we told him in American. Okay, so obviously. He didn't get it, okay? So, and he walked out and he won. So what happened was, we all said no win. So I held everybody back on the platform. Well, and this guy starts, we told him he's in the water. It's dead high tide now. Now all the tourists are on the beach clapping, but all the people that know that this guy's not the real winner.
Right.
So everybody's clapping for him that doesn't know any better. But I held everybody on the pole, and Salvi, this guy went, "F you! I won the flag." He starts pushing the flag and swimming towards the beach away from us.
Oh,
That really pissed us off.
Did you all jump off?
No! Salvi says, "Hold everybody up here, Samo. Matza and me are going to take care of this." So Matza, this scenario starts, this guy swimming into the beach at dead high tide, pushing the flag, right, swimming as fast as he can. My Gumbadi JB, who had retired, grabbed some kid off a dinghy, threw him in the water. He was pissed off. He was just watching it, and he starts rowing in after this guy. So these JB's rowing, and Martin and Salvi are swimming like two sharks after this guy, and this guy's coming to the Pavilion Beach. He gets up on the beach and he raises the flag, and all the tourists go, "Hey!" And Matza was he was an amateur boxer. He comes out of the water and cold cocks this guy and breaks his jaw and knocks him out cold. They grab the flag, put it back in the boat, and bring it out. And the tourists are going, "Wait a minute. You gotta win the thing. You come in, they knock you out, and they take you away in the ambulance and put the flag back up."
Yes, that's how we do it.
What
That's
year
how we
was
do it
that?
here.
What the year was that?
What year was that?
That was 78.
Wow.
And that year, Salvi Benson won for the last time, I think. That was the last year.
time?
But Salvi won after, and it was righteous because it was the all-time champion. It was just a righteous day, you know, all around.
Right.
For the
So when
Greasy
did
Pole.
they start incorporating the speakers so that you guys could hear out there, or did you guys just have a list and you're like,
No,
There's always a
well,
guy with a
in
list.
the old
There's always
days,
been out
in the
there.
old
Right
days,
to
you
this
think-
day there is.
Yeah, in the old days, you thought they already got like these cheap two-way radios, which I suggested 1,000 times, but they wouldn't. They wouldn't do it. So, Sammy Frontiero was one of the original announcers. He was funny as hell. He would say, he'd say, "Okay, number one, this guy here is so and so's nephew, and a beep, and number one would walk. Okay, number two." And now, while number two's walking, Sammy Logie says, "That reminds me of a time." He's telling the people on the beach. "Me and my Gumbadi V are walking down Beach Court, and I says, Gumba, let's go get a Zazitza." And the Zazitzas were out. Meanwhile, 3, 4, 5, and 6 walks. And then he gets back on the microphone and he goes, "Okay, number 3. And we're all like this up there going, we're waving. And it was a nightmare. And we did this every year. You never knew who was walking because the guy that he was talking about was 7 people ahead of you, you know?
oh my god,
Yeah.
that is crazy.
Yeah.
Now, so in the courtesy walk, has it always been where you all try to like inch off Grease?
Well, you see, the courtesy walk, you try to get out there as far as you can,
yeah,
Right.
but you don't push it because you can get killed, and then you get killed for nothing. But if you get out to the end, you can say, if someone wins the second round, you don't get another walk, you say, well, I could have won.
right, okay.
Okay, so you always try to, the thing is to keep the grease on there for as long as you can because but it's very deceiving.
they bring it
But it's very deceiving. See, when the grease falls off the pole and it's a bare pole and there's that sheen on there, the water,
That's even
the
worse.
water molecules on top of the grease because it's it's oil and water don't mix, and what happens is it gets 10 times more slippery and it's deceiving because it looks like there's no grease there. But it's slippery as
So you
hell.
think people are helping people out by bringing it down? In reality, it's
Oh, I
It's
see.
really killing it.
See, I have a picture.
Oh my god, mind is blown. The secrets have been
Yeah.
revealed.
Did she send you the picture of me going off the end of my back?
Yep.
Okay,
I do
well,
have that
if you
one.
look closely at that, my cousin Peter's underneath me with the flag in the water. I said to myself, I'm going to walk to see how far I would have got. And I went right off the end of my ass like this, and I did a
make
flip.
it to the end
And
every year.
I went right off.
And you
I
missed the
was-
damn
I
flag,
was
Peter.
sick.
He already won it.
I was
Peter
sick.
walks
Peter was underneath me.
Oh, okay.
So I just said, I'm going to walk, after you won. You get up and you see
That's
those
when
guys.
you see everyone go off the end.
After-
After
No pressure. No
Right,
pressure.
But
exactly.
after
right,
that
right.
year, every time someone grabbed the flag, I would jump in the water. I wouldn't even try because I got
Right.
killed for nothing, But everybody, someone took that picture. I don't know who it was, but it was like unbelievable because I knew what I did. And I didn't think anybody captured it, And I said, I went right off the end. And everybody says, I know, I seen you, right? That was you, because I
That might actually be the cover of this podcast episode.
that'd
I'm
be
debating
amazing.
it. I've been
That's
working on
amazing.
some photos, and I'm like, God, I'm so torn as to which
That'd
one
be
I want to
amazing.
use.
Yeah.
So why? Okay, so you say you started walking at 15.
Right.
So why did you decide to do that? I mean, obviously you said you grew up since day one.
It was, I aspired to walk professionally, if you will, on the Greasy Pole. That's what my thing
So
was.
you've been going your whole life, and you were like, "That's what I want to do.
We
That's
were
what
making
I
our
want
own
to do."
greasy poles all summer long. We did
When
this
you were
all summer
kids.
long. All summer long. My mother would freak out because I've always been grease at home. You know what I mean? It was just
Yeah.
There's a
grease
lot
at
of
home.
kids who did that.
But
though.
we
All
did
of
this-
Ross Carlson,
we did this-
Joey D, all those young guys that do it.
This
They
is
all
what we
walked
did.
out there as kids
Yeah.
and put the
Now
flag
they
up
won't let
and
anybody
greased
up there for
it, did all
liability
that.
reasons and stuff. Things have
They
changed.
never let
Right.
anybody up there, but now they get real strict with it.
But-
They used to kick
Right.
me off as a kid all the time.
But if we did basically, we ran the show back in the old days. You have to understand that nobody messed with the Greasy Pole guys.
But did you have the Coast Guard coming out to tell you to get off at
Sometimes.
at the time?
Sometimes we
at
throw a
even
can
in
of
the-
beer at them. One year, this is a great story. Salvi Benson picks us up in the landing barge at the town landing, right?
Yeah.
And we're all dressed up, and it's Sunday.
And how old
And-
are you at this time?
This was like in my middle 20s.
Okay.
So we were still pretty freaking crazy up there. But anyway, it's a little docile now. It's not as crazy as it used to be.
They're not allowed to be as crazy.
But anyway,
Right,
anyway, yeah, it was no holds barred back in the old days. You didn't know where he was by the time you got up there. But anyway, we're going out from the town landing, and the police boat comes up to us with the councilman for the.
Hold on 1 second.
Anyway, we're going out, on this landing barge. We're all sitting on the rails on each side of the landing barge, and the police boat comes up to us by Fisherman's Wharf, by the glass house. He says, "No drinking on the Greasy Pole this year." And by the time he got this year out of his mouth, a full can of beer flew past the guy's head and missed it by about 6 inches, right? The guy driving the police boat goes, "What are they going to do, stop us? They stopped the show. They ain't going to stop us. So we did whatever we wanted. This police boat just took off. They didn't even pursue it, you know? But that's the way it was. It was no holds barred. We ran the show, and nobody told us what to do. And there was just one rule. You watch the guy that's in front of you. If he gets hurt, he's your responsibility.
Yeah.
And that was the only rule. And
That's
no grab
still
the
day.
flag on the first walk. But everybody knew that from when that guy got the shit kicked out of him. No one's gonna do that again.
Besides the
And that's when
Matza,
Matza, when my Gumbadi Matza became the sheriff of the Greasy Pole, was after that day when he punched that guy in the There's a photo out there of him connecting with the guy's jaw.
Yeah, somebody has that photo on the beach.
Knocking him out right on the
It's
beach.
an old black and white photo.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
It was
I
in
think
the
it's on the
Times.
shrine. It's on the shrine.
It was in the Times.
Eric puts it on the shrine every year.
Yeah.
So what was it? So there you are when you're 15, walking your pole for the first time.
Yeah.
But you've already been out there when you were a child.
Yeah, but now I'm
So
out there with
now-
all the boats.
right,
I'm out there with
so-
all the boats and the crowd, and I'm out there with all these really old guys, like they're in their middle 20s, right? I'm a young kid, and they're passing around a jug of Canadian Club, a handle jug of Canadian Club. You had to take a belt before you walked, and the jug comes to me, right? And they say, "You got to take a."
At 15?
And so I take a big swallow of it, right? And I went, almost threw up, you know. And then that's how that was my initiation on the Greasy Pole. That's how I started.
At 15?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so then, did you continued from 15?
I continued from 15. I won when I was 27, I believe.
Wait, it took
87.
you that many years to win?
Yeah, but I walked past it a few times too because
Yeah, so
I look at my feet all the time. So by the time I get to the end, I look up and one time I grabbed the flag and it went right down my arm like that.
Stop
There's
it.
a running joke that somebody made him like a thing for his, I think it was like his 40th birthday. Didn't Sweeney make this up for his 40th birthday? It was like this Greasy Pole like 3D thing. It was awesome, made out of wood, the whole nine. And it had 3 flags on it.
At the end.
Because it
At
was
the
a
end,
running
it had
joke.
3
It had
poles.
3 poles because that was a running joke that he could never get the one
In the middle.
So if it always had the 2 on the side, he would have won. Seriously,
Right.
it's a running joke.
Yeah. But then I won in 87. What happened was actually, that second walk when I went out there, if you look at the pictures of me when they brought me in, the first walk I got killed. I hit the pole hard. I got grease all over me. I'm covered in black. So everybody says, "Jesus, you was the second walker on the second walk. How'd you get so full of grease?" Because I nailed it on the first walk. And what I did was, if you look at the pictures, there's like freeze frames of me walking, and
I got that one too.
I dove for it.
Yeah.
And tipped the flag. So the next shot, I'm halfway. It's low tide, so I'm halfway. My arms are like this, and the flag is coming down behind me, but I'm over here like halfway down. But it's the flag. So I thought that I tipped it, and it's a no-win. It's still up there.
Yeah.
You know, and I fell in the water. I came back up. I looked straight back at the pole, and it was gone. It was floating next to me
That
in the
happened
water.
to, who was that? Richie Hopkins that
Yeah.
happened to
Well,
that
Richie
year? And
Hopkins-
He won it. They had to put it back up.
Yeah.
He tipped it and it went down.
Richie
Then
Hopkins
they had
was
to
an
put it back up.
unbelievable walker.
Yeah, they put it back up and there's a picture of him at the end holding it. Afterwards, he made sure he had a hand on it and he ripped
Probably
it
in the top 10 of that I've ever
Walkers.
seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one year,
He was
this
always
is the
fun to watch.
irony of this whole story. He went out there and greased the pole, and he was a union carpenter, and he put all these. He had this drill, and he put these screws into the flag. So he screwed it in with about 7 different screws, right? So look. Now the event starts. I think it's the second or third walk. He goes right to the end and he stands there like Matza did, right? And they got this picture of him standing there.
hold
So
on to
now he tries to get it off, and the
he
flag
can't
is in there.
because
So,
he did it.
so he goes like this, and the flag goes upside down, and he falls in the water, and it's a no-win. So he gets back on. This guy gets back on the platform.
It's a no-win because he
Yeah,
screwed it
it
into
doesn't
my...
come-
It's
Yeah.
not just that.
Well,
It
it doesn't
down
come
the
off
water.
the
It
pole.
doesn't come off
Yeah,
the pole.
if it
It's a
doesn't come
no-win.
off, it's a no-win.
So sick. He's on the pole now. Needless to say, we're all breaking this guy's balls to death, right? I mean, humiliation. I can't even imagine how this guy felt, right?
He did it.
I missed by inches and been sick all year. I can't even imagine doing that, right? So we're everybody, and he gets up again. No one wins, and he gets up this next walk and wins.
Wow.
And he
was like, I'm gonna get
He won twice in one day. He won twice in one day. Yeah.
I remember being on the beach for that one.
Wow.
Yeah. That's one
crazy.
of the most unbelievable things I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
So you have walked 1,000 times.
35 years, 5 years.
What was your worst injury?
I was hospitalized at least 10 times.
Shut up.
Yeah, over the years.
I drove to the hospital at 15.
Stop it.
Broken
Stop
ribs.
We had dinner and he's like, I think I need to go to the emergency room.
Concussions.
So when you walk, how are you falling? Does it depend
Well,
on
see,
the trees?
everybody has this thing that they say, oh, you fall between your legs, you must
I
sing
told you guys
soprano.
this last year, it
but
doesn't hit.
it's a misconception because you hit your inner thighs, you don't really fall down on
You
your,
hit the
on your
goishes,
nuts.
not the actual.
Yeah, and well, some guys do, but
Yeah.
but I always walk sidestep, so I prevent that. But if I
But then
some-
if you fall a certain way, you hit your head.
Right. I've hit my head a few times. Sometimes I've actually at dead low tide have slipped on the pole and done 3 revolutions in midair, and then on the 3rd revolution slapped the water so hard that my face was bruised from hitting the water.
Sometimes hitting the water is,
Stop.
most of the time hitting the water is worse
Yeah,
than
than
the
hitting the
actual
pole.
hitting the pole.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, because
Especially at dead low tide.
You're hitting at revolutions per second.
So what's the absence, since you've been injured so much, what's the worst one?
The worst one I would say was one year I usually bruise my ribs, but one year I really cracked them, almost punctured a lung. They said,
Wow.
and I didn't come out. I didn't come out of it like till November.
You want to hear a good story? So he walked the pole, all done. He goes off.
Wait,
and does his
Sam
thing.
will remember.
Oh
because
yeah.
You were out.
So they carry the champ up. They go clean up or whatever. So I'm going home. We were living on Blooming Ave at the time. I'm going home. I'm walking down, and I see him coming up. So we kind of meet each other. He's barefoot, covered in grease, limping, holding on to his side.
Jay.
I'm like, Dad, what's wrong? I was like, you hit it pretty hard. Are you okay? He moves his hand, and it's like you can almost see it puncturing, like coming out. I'm fine. We walk home together. I cook us dinner, me, Monique, and him. And he looks at me. He buys stuff. He goes, Samantha, I think you need to drive me to the emergency room. I'm like, you think?
I got a little
I was
problem,
like
yeah.
15. I didn't even have a license, but he had been drinking all day
Right.
because it's the Greasy Pole.
Statute of limitations
Yeah,
is
no,
over at this
exactly.
point.
In those days, it was okay.
Yeah.
Those days.
It's an emergency. I don't want to drive at 15. Whatever. So I told him the emergency
Have a
room, and
learner's permit?
they told him he almost punctured a lung if he hadn't gone.
Wow.
I've seen him ribs, knees,
Yeah,
head, back.
I've had a lot of injuries over the years, needless to say. That's why I stopped walking later on in life, because I realized that I wasn't competitive anymore, number one. But number two was I started getting a little apprehensive and scared.
Well,
and once
I
you
would
get
have been
fear,
pissed if I were you to go past all of those times.
yeah, oh yeah, I'd rather take 2 steps and fall off than actually get to the end and say,
Exactly.
it should have been my flag.
Seriously, right?
Chris Carlson thanks me every year.
Yeah.
I gave him that
Seen
flag. But it was Chris. I went all through school with him, so he's a good friend of mine, and I was happy that he won.
He
It's
had
just the way
his
it was.
fingerprints were on the flag. He had it hanging over his.
I went for the
on
flag.
his, like,
I
when
went
you
for the
walked
flag
into his
and
house
missed.
on the
And it
outside
went
of the
right down
porch, his
my
flag
arm.
was hanging,
Flag went
and
down
his
my arm
fingerprints
like
were on it.
Damn.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, they're still on that flag.
But
Is it still the same flag?
no.
No, they got
No,
it pretty
no.
now.
The year I won in '87, you ever see the polls?
It used to
that
be a rag with like a piece of wood. Now they
Yeah.
like do
Yeah.
like these
They
graphic
do-
designs.
Yeah,
and
but
like,
the year I won in '87, we didn't have a flag, so we had this guy come by that they were driving pilings in some wharf down in Gloucester somewhere. So this guy was towing this long pole and had a flag at the end with a piece of strapper on it with the plastic, flag at the end, for the cars behind it. So we stole that off that. That was the flag that I won. Yeah, that was the flag that I won with at '87. Yeah.
So you had walked all these years before you won in '87. So when you won in '87,
Well, that was for my Gumbati Benny who got lost in the Captain Cosmo, and we dedicated a trophy in his honor on Saturday because he had won in the '70s, And he got lost on the Cap Cosmo, so all the Goombas got together and made the Benny Interanti trophy. And it was not just the win on Saturday, but it was to win that trophy that was really important to me.
Yeah.
And how did you feel when you got that?
Oh,
Was it like, because of course you've been
see
walking for so many years.
The
Yeah.
picture of me on the beach like this says it all. You know, the look on my face. When I won in 2000 for Larry, I think it was Dave Bader took a close-up picture of me, Joey Pomazano, and Anthony Saputo, and I got the flag like this. And my expression on my face is I'm actually crying and laughing at the same time.
I've got the photo of you on where all of them are carrying you in, but also the Coast Guard is right there.
Right,
because apparently
that's 87.
They needed us. Oh, that was 87.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
And
yeah.
it's up like this.
Yeah.
No, the
So
one where
both
he's right
times
next-
you
Yeah,
actually walked
2000.
and won
Oh,
for
okay.
friends.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I always
Yeah.
dedicated my watch to
somebody.
To somebody. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's nostalgia, and that's what Fiesta was all about. That's how I grew up. Walking so and so, walking for his cousin so and so, or his father who just passed, or his uncle who just passed. That's how, as a kid, that's what I.
Well, once you win, someone walks in your honor.
Well, this year,
Right
I don't
now?
know. I've had people walk for me on Sunday now, but this year, I'm not sure who's walking for me yet. But no one's.
Wait,
It's
so
not Brian?
okay, so you've already
Brian walks with his friends on Saturday.
okay, so
If Brian's friends were to win Sunday,
all right, but you've already
Then he'd
won.
walk
So
if he wanted to.
do you get to appoint somebody in your honor?
Yeah.
you can. Yeah.
So every year, do you appoint someone in your honor?
If they approach me and want to walk for me, I will. But I don't.
But they have to be a Saturday or a Sunday.
No.
No, you don't have to be anybody.
I can put whoever I want on there.
proteges can be anybody. I can walk for him. I don't think people would like that, but
I could.
I could walk.
I
Hey,
wouldn't
it's
let her.
2018.
He wouldn't allow me
Hashtag me too.
to. Yeah.
I wouldn't.
He
let her
wouldn't
walk.
let me.
I
He
wouldn't.
always told me growing
Well-
up that if he ever heard my name, he would swim out there and pull me off of it.
Okay,
in
so
front
that's
of the
funny
entire
because
stadium.
when I was younger, my family is Consiglios.
Yeah.
That's my family, and I swam out to the Greasy Pole when I was younger, and I would always climb up, and I would always attempt to walk it, right? Even as a young girl at 11 years old. And one of my dreams was to be the first female walker to ever win the Greasy
Right.
Pole. And every summer I would go out there and I'd come home covered in grease.
Yeah.
Well, then I, discovered that I was afraid of heights.
Yeah.
But the Greasy Pole was a really big part of my
Of
childhood.
course it was.
Swimming out,
Yeah.
climbing up, because the Coast Guard wasn't after us.
No.
Right?
And-
The Coast Guard wasn't like, what are you doing
Well, because
up
it was
here?
also not a building where there's many eyes watching you at all times.
Right.
too.
I mean, so I'd climb up and I would climb up. If I didn't want to walk, I would jump off
Right.
and repeat.
Oh yeah.
And I would come home covered in grease.
Yeah.
So that was something that that I always loved to do, and I always aspired. I wanted to be the first female to ever win the pole.
Yeah.
But then I became, afraid of heights.
I have dreams.
The people
Right?
people will stay on the beach. It's funny to me because now I'm like a commentator on the beach. People, I stand around people and I say this guy's good, this whoever, and I look at the field and of course I say, oh yeah, I could get that like nothing, which I can't. I really can't. But I've earned that right to do that. But people never cease to amaze me that say, looking at it from the beach, say that doesn't look like much. You ever get up there,
yeah,
especially
right.
at dead low tide?
Yeah,
and
right.
you look at
Dead
that
low
thing-
tide, you
yeah.
ain't doing shit.
Yeah,
You ain't doing
I've
shit at dead low
I've
tide.
actually grazed the bottom. There's not much water there at dead low tide. It's probably
No,
about
you
8
touch.
feet. Probably
You
about,
touch,
eight,
right.
probably about 8 feet of water.
Whenever I go by the boulevard or I'm there and I see it at high tide,
Yeah.
the first thought is, wow, that'd be lucky to be walking
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
When you see the Greasy Pole at its low tide or high tide, when you're from here, that's your first thought is
We used
the
to
fall.
Is
we
the
used to-
fall.
We used to
It-
look at the
it-
tide chart on the boat and say, what's the tide going to be Sunday
of course.
at the end of June?
Yeah.
And that's how we would gauge it. But so we always knew what the tide was going to be. But you just prepare yourself for that. And guys like the guys that I grew up with walking, it didn't matter low or high. We would go out there to win.
Right.
And just more importantly than winning back in those days was the sense of camaraderie that we had amongst ourselves. That first 15 or 20 guys that I was talking about that was on the list.
Right.
And we would just look forward to seeing each other after fishing hard it was like our Mardi Gras for the year.
Of course.
We, you know, we tie up the boats and we start painting the boats that summer. But it was like, we'd all come in at the same time. We'd have air guitar on Wednesday night down, and I'm an air guitar champ, by the way. But I won't get into that. But anyway, so we'd have air guitar, and then that would be the official start of the fiesta, more or less, and down the old timers. And there was like a group of about 300 or 400 men and women that hung around down that area all year round. But when fiesta come, it was just it was crazy.
Right.
And the cops, like, they didn't bother us or anything. It wasn't
Not like it is now.
wasn't regimented. Yeah. Well, you have a lot of out of town people coming. I mean, I watched
You got a lot of
The internet has changed the game.
I walked in Mitch's a couple years ago during Fiesta.
Yes,
and they had rap music playing during Fiesta time. And I'm looking around, I don't recognize anybody. I'm going, man, I got old. What the hell happened? The music changed, the people changed. You know, it used to be disco and,
Yeah.
whatever.
So you won in 87, you won again in 2000. So that's pretty good spread. So why did you decide to walk again, to win in 2000 when now you are the quote-unquote oldest person to win
I'll
the
tell you
Greasy
why.
Pole?
Because when you win on Sunday, you're the second walker the next Sunday. You move yourself from, I hadn't won 13 years.
So he was a
Right?
fan.
Since
Right.
from
Wait,
87 to...
wait,
so I was-
hold on. How many times did you walk in 13 years? You walked all 13?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you
yeah.
didn't get...
No, I got close. I walked past it 3 or 4 times, but
That's
crazy.
I've had better walks and
That's
missed.
crazy.
The running joke with everybody was,
That's
this is my year. Samantha, every year.
Yeah.
Samantha, this is going to be
So,
my year.
okay.
so the thing
Seriously?
is, like, you move up to like 18 or 20 on the list. Now you win
you're
that
second.
Sunday. You're second the next year.
Behind the
so
Saturday.
everybody's telling
Right.
me, what you're telling? Why don't you just retire, man?
13
Retire
years?
on
Of
top.
course everyone's going to tell you retire for 13
Retire on
years.
top. Retire on top. They say.
Seriously.
What are you freaking people crazy, man? I'm on the top of the list now. I can't retire now.
Now you get a
I'm
shot
gonna win
again.
again.
Seriously.
So besides being the second walker on that following Sunday after
Yep.
you win, what else do you win? Do you win
Well,
anything?
you win $25 and an imaginary case of beer, but I got a check for $18.50 clear one year. I'm only kidding, right? I never seen the $25 or any case of beer. You win what I'm doing right now, bragging rights.
Okay.
And that's like,
Right.
unlike money,
Yeah.
You
that
get to
doesn't
be
go
on
away.
leaves on leaves.
That doesn't go away. Okay.
So in high school, I always heard that you, like, if you were a Greasy Pole walker and you won, you would become the man of the year. So you could walk into
yeah.
Mitch's and old timers, and everybody in their
You're the
uncles would buy you a
champ. You're
drink.
the champ.
You're
To this
champ.
day, he's the champ. It starts in May.
Yeah. It's funny because
Samantha is your father, your father, your father, your father, your father, your father. I'm like, hi.
I walk.
Is it because... Wait, hold on. Is this because... he only won
Twice.
twice.
Yeah.
But he was walking for many, 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 many
Yeah.
years.
People
Is
respect
that...
that.
He's been involved in
He's
it.
been respected
carries
for many,
the
many
statue.
years.
He's-
Right.
our family
So
is
that's
always-
not
I was
just...
very-
That's not just one.
No,
Yeah,
right?
but I was
He's a
competitive as
fisherman,
well.
it's the
I was very
tradition.
competitive. I
Right.
know I just missed, went
Right.
3/4 of the way. I was on top of
Right.
it every year. So it was only a matter of time.
Well, and
That's
I think
right.
he's a
I
character,
only know
so that
you
always
as
helps.
Sam's father and the character legend of Samo that's down on the beach. Like, I remember being on
Oh,
the beach.
shucks.
And you won my graduating year
Yeah.
in 2000. But, like, I always remember, oh, there's Samo. He's telling stories on the beach
Well,
right there.
yeah, well,
guy.
that year I won in 2000. I told you about Larry passing and everything.
Yeah.
It was very emotional for me. We carried the statue down, and it was dedicated to him. The whole fiesta was dedicated. And this is one of the eeriest things that's ever happened to me out there. I got to the end, and I was almost falling. My last step,
As you can see in those pictures.
in those pictures, you see that I'm starting to go this way, like I'm starting to lean to fall. And the flag is blowing in one shot. The flag is blowing in this direction. And then it came like, for some reason, when I went, you only get one stab at it. If you
Yeah.
miss,
Right,
if you
right.
miss, you got to wait another 365 days.
Yeah.
That's the deal, okay?
Yeah.
So I went for the flag and missed the stick and grabbed the sheet The sheet
Had to
blew.
turn.
It changed. It went like a third of a compass around, or a quarter compass around, and went right in my hand. And I think that Larry did that.
Of course he
I mean,
did.
like I felt him up
course he
there,
did.
and I was so. The reason why I won, I think, was because I was so emotional that it didn't matter anymore. Nothing mattered. Just I had to win for Larry that year.
Yeah.
And that's
The Coast
and-
Guard had to bring him half the way because he was crying so hard.
No,
They-
when I fell
Yeah,
in the
I know.
water, what happened was I fell in the water, and they all started coming at me, and I was hyperventilating. I was freaking out. Okay,
Right,
I was freaking
right,
out. So the
yeah.
guys got around me, a couple of guys that know that have won before, because we're all champs on Sunday. We know this from previous experience. Leave them alone for a minute. Let them breathe. Let them breathe. So the environmental boat's behind me now, right? And I'm hyperventilating. So my Gumbadi Dave Tar, who I used to fish with in Cape May, was back home, and he was on the committee boat, which was next to the environmental boat. And he was all dressed in the Sunday whites, and he told everybody, if Samo wins this year, I'm diving in the water. Samo's never going to win, right?
This is my year.
So,
This
so,
is my
so,
year.
so now I'm like this. I'm pushing everybody back. Let me breathe. And he comes from behind and grabs my shoulders and pulls me down.
Oh my God.
The
stop.
water went down about a foot on Pavilion Beach. That's how much water I swallowed, okay? I almost
my
drowned,
God.
all right? And after that, I started freaking out. So I grabbed the environmental boat, and the guy says, buddy, I got to give you a ride in. And I'm like one of the first. I think I'm the only guy ever to get a ride in by the boat.
He got up on the boat.
I told him I'll meet you guys at the beach.
Goes wild.
And-
It was unreal. That was unreal.
Because everybody thought I got hurt. All my sister, all
Right,
and everybody
right.
thought I got hurt because I was like in the boat. I was like this. Like I wasn't hurt. I was just freaking out.
Right.
I was just very
Bawling
emotional.
his eyes out. Don't let him fool you.
I was
He's
crying.
bawling his eyes out.
Yeah.
He bawled his eyes out for like 6 hours straight. Don't let him
Yeah.
fool you.
I was.
So-
I go home. He's in the shower. He's like, Samantha, I won. I'm like,
Yes.
I know.
So did you walk after 2000?
Yeah, I watched for about 6, 7
So
more
yeah, he
years.
retired like
You
2006,
did?
2007. Yeah.
Something like
Did
that.
you get?
He was
No,
Uncle
actually-
Sam. The year he
actually-
retired, he dressed
No,
as
I
Uncle
watched
Sam.
for about 10 more years. Yeah, I was about 10 more years.
You walked till
I've
2010.
I've been retired for about 8 years now. This I think is my 7th or 8th year. Right?
So you walked from 2000 to 2010 because Sam
Yeah.
says otherwise.
No,
I
she doesn't
think
know.
it's like 2008.
No,
Yeah, we'll fight.
whatever.
So you did walk, and did you get close?
Yeah,
Don't
sometimes.
don't tell me you walked past it again.
No.
No,
Because
no.
you would have
Every
learned by
year,
then.
every year, I started getting a little bit slower and a little bit worse, and then I just.
You get older
I
and
got to the
understand
point where I
consequences
said to
of your
myself, you know what, I'm
actions.
going to retire. And
Right.
everybody's telling me you can't retire because I had a lot of people that loved to see me walk the pole that were rooting for me.
Right.
And every year those 2 years that I won, people were really happy that
Of
I won.
course.
Oh, the
because
beach one.
because
Oh,
I grew
yeah.
up down there,
Crazy.
and this was I got it tattooed on my arm. This is a big part of me, you know. I got on this side, I got my kids. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And this is a big part of me, you know. And
Right.
and this is like something that was instilled in me as a child, and
Right.
and it was a childhood dream to win on a Sunday, especially. But when I won on Saturday, when I won the trophy for Benny, that was really emotional too. You know, I mean, it was emotional both times.
Right.
It really was.
So how far out onto the pole does the adrenaline just kick in and you just kind of black
Well,
out?
this is funny you would say that because I've been up there with guys that we've literally held up
yeah.
that were so drunk and they've walked right to the end and grabbed the flag. It's amazing. Like you never at any given time that flag is anybody's. And anybody who knows the Greasy Pole will tell you this. That flag after the first walk is anybody's flag. A guy can just pull it out of his ass and walk to the end and smoke it. And that's just the way it is. Some guys that are unknown that grab it. There's guys that come close every year that might get lucky and grab it. But you never know. It's just an amazing thing. At that particular time when you get up, you block. I have 15,000 people yelling, Samo, Samo, the beach, the boats. It's like, so you have to block all this stuff out of you. You have to just block out. And my buddy Jerry Schlino, won in 86, made a great statement. He said, what's in between is immaterial. That's what he used to say. So you just try to focus on the flag and block out the crowd. All the guys behind you slapping you and hitting you, and you're screaming "Magi Samo Tutti Muti" and all this. So you're hyperventilating before you even walk. So I've learned all these tricks.
Right.
Also, I've learned that we used to freeze our asses. I got pictures of me up there with like 4 or 5 guys, 6 guys left on the pole during the competition. The flag's still up. Half the guys swam into it was freezing.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's like 7 of us up there left. Me and Joey Pomazano and about 5 other guys, right? I got these pictures. But I learned after about 25 years, you know, I'm calling it a stunada, but after 25 years, I learned that if you bring like a sweater or an old coat up there and you give it to somebody before you walk, that way when it's freezing, you get back on the pole and you put something dry on, you're going to be in top form when you get back up on there again.
Right.
And both years I won, I did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the other years we're up there going, and everybody's shivering together up there like this, and it's terrible. It's freezing, you know?
Well, it doesn't seem like that in the last couple of years because the last few years, right?
They got
seem
Fireball
to all,
up there.
They seem to
Yeah,
Fireball. They all seem
that
to
helps.
stick together, right?
Yeah.
Have you
Well, there's
seen-
also 90,000 of them up there.
Yeah, it's
A
packed.
lot
you
of guys
seen-
stay in the water too. Like Brian always stays in the water
It's
because
packed to
it's
the pool.
warmer when
What-
you're in the water than to get
In the
up
old
and
days, there was
Right.
25 guys. Now there's 50.
Okay, so what
40,
differences have you seen between then and now?
Well, in the old days, there was 25, 20 guys up there.
That's it. That's nothing, right?
Now there's 50, and the pole's cramped. You know, and everybody's like.
And that space isn't really big up there,
and
is
if
it?
you swim
It's
in,
bigger than it used
if
to be,
you're
but
not
it's
hurt
still
and you
not that
swim
big.
in before that's over, you shouldn't be able to go up there again.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people want to walk that pole, and you're up there. You're up there. I never swam home until that flag was off the pole, and I've been up there in lightning storms. I've seen lightning strikes. I've seen things sideways rain, gales of wind. I mean squalls. You know, and one.
Because now if it rains or sideways,
the year-
they cancel it.
The year I won
Right?
in 2000, it's funny you say that because I won in 2000 and I went and I made a movie. It's called The Catch. It was about Gloucester fishermen. Now this guy that made the movie lived in Burbank and he grew up in Gloucester and he's a filmmaker living in Burbank now. He's a friend of my older brother Joe's. So he told me, I'm going to get you on the game show to tell the truth. Next year has the Greasy Pole Champ.
He was
So
my senior year in high school.
the 2001 in May, they call me up. Hollywood sends me a plane ticket, and I get a room at the Burbank Hilton. I rented a brand new Mustang cherry red convertible, and I was a movie star
Who
for the
was the
weekend.
real Sam Frontiero Greasy Pole
Yeah,
Champ? It was
and
all
you know the
about
premise
him.
of the show, the real
yeah,
guy
yeah,
and the two
yeah.
imposters.
Wow, really?
And I was on to tell the truth as the
Oh my
Greasy Pole
God.
Champ.
I'm gonna need to find that on
Good
YouTube.
luck. If you do, let me know. I've looked for years.
You
I
know
can't
what
find
though?
it.
You know who
I had it on
I
the thing,
actually
but I
have a
lost it.
friend that works in. Actually, I have 3 friends that work in the film industry. I'm gonna see if they can.
If you can
tap
find it, let me know. I'll
But
go.
anyway, I won
that's so
$1,000 and I rented.
How'd you win $1,000?
Because
they
they
couldn't
didn't
guess
guess
who
me.
it was.
They couldn't guess who it was. I stumped the panel. And John O'Hurley was the
Yeah.
Mr. Peterman. You know
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Peterman, right? He
was the host.
He was the host. And he's from Natick originally.
Yeah,
so
he's
he's
from
telling you how the Red Sox doing, and you know, and it was great. That year, 2001 comes now, and they told me that if I won the Greasy Pole again, I was going to get on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
Stop it!
Because he's from
No way.
Andover.
Yeah, right.
And he knew about it. He knew about this old guy winning the thing, so he said,
This
well,
old guy.
well,
You're 42.
well,
Stop saying
well,
old guy.
Well, if he wins again, we'll put him on the show. So I had a chance to get on the Tonight Show. So that year, I'm all pumped up on Sunday, right? I am pumped. I'm going to win.
course.
I'm going to go back to back. I'm going to get on the Tonight Show. This is going to be great, right? And they cancel the Greasy Pole because it's right. Now I'm living down the fort.
Stop.
I'm living down the fort.
That was
and
like the 10-day fiesta.
I'm living down the fort, right? And it's right
Okay,
around
I
the
remember that.
So they tell me it's canceled. I says, I freak out. There's no way we're walking every guys. I've been up there in worse weather than this. This is ridiculous. You can't do it. The hell with the Coast Guard. They can't tell us what to do. Well, this is the newer generation. They said, we got to do what they say. Okay. So I go home, and I'm sitting in my living room, and I'm pissed. I'm ready to watch the Greasy Pole now on Sunday. Next thing you know, I'm watching TV in my living room, right? Sitting there. All of a sudden, I hear, ooh, ah. I'm saying, son of a bitch, they're walking it, right?
Shut up.
So I
Stop
run,
right
I
now.
run down,
Stop.
I run down to the beach from my house. I'm right around the
Stop.
corner. Right? That's how I heard it, you know. So I run down to the beach, and these guys that they went against it. It wasn't competition, but they went up there and walked, and they got barred from the pole the next year, whatever. But it was a big thing about it because I was going to dive in the water and swim out there.
Yeah, hello,
And there was
I
a few of
would've.
the champs. There was a few of the champs on the beach that said, "Samo, don't do it," because they they stopped me. So
Wow.
that year, first time in my life, I was on the pole. I got up for the second walk in 2001, and the pole is facing the Boulevard Sweet Shop. If you look at it, right? Like,
Okay.
it's facing almost like Blimmen Bridge, between
Yeah,
Blimmen Bridge and the old Boulevard Grocery.
Yeah.
And I hear a band playing. I'm ready to walk the pole. It's the Horribles Parade. They had the Horribles Parade, and we're walking the pole.
Yeah.
During it was Tuesday.
Yeah, it was
You
the
know?
long. It was the
10-day
longest
fiesta.
fiesta.
It was like a 10-day
Right,
fiesta
and it was
because
really
they
a bummer.
canceled
You know,
it.
it was just the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I seen the Horribles Parade coming by the Boulevard Sweet Shop, and I'm walking the Greasy Pole.
Wow.
And I didn't win.
And that was,
I never
and
got on
that
the
was
sideshow.
the time they did that.
Yeah.
year?
But that's
Had to.
another reason why they try to keep away Fiesta going into July just in case
Well,
it gets
this year.
No, it's Sunday, July 1st.
This year,
That's the
Sunday
furthest
is
they
July
let it go.
1st.
I was shocked
Exactly.
they did it, to be honest.
But no, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Right?
me too. But
Where-
ever since this, they tend to
Right,
stop doing
right,
that.
because July 3rd. So I mean, I do remember like July 3rd going into Fiesta, and this year I'm like, because it's always the last Thursday of June,
Right.
and this year June has 5 Thursdays,
Right,
right?
that's how it works
So
sometimes.
we are like, going into it, and I'm like, oh wow, I haven't seen this in a very long time. Where July marries,
It's more or less the last weekend in June. That's how
Yeah.
it usually falls. But sometimes
But
it
this
falls
year
too
it's
close.
falling that,
It falls
right.
too close.
Which
to
is
4th of
funny.
July.
In the 9 years I was out in California, I would always be like, "Oh, well, Fiesta's this
Right.
weekend, so I'll fly in this weekend and miss it." And everyone's like, and I'm like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" They're like, "Bridge, it's Fiesta." I'm like, "What? Fuck it! God damn it! I'm trying to avoid that because it was so hard for me because everybody and their uncle was doing Fiesta stuff,
Yeah,
so I didn't
yeah.
get to see people,
Yeah.
and I always ended up doing something on Fiesta and whatnot. So it was always like, I'm never gonna get this schedule right. And this year, I'm actually not.
Well, I'm
going to be
60.
There, so.
I'm 60. I never missed one yet. So,
Gotta go to
and I
Rhode
don't
Island.
intend to ever miss one. But it's not as. It's a young man's game. The drinking and that's not what it's all about. It's a religious festival, and it's about the fishermen. I'm going to tell you a fisherman's prayer. Okay. I was walking across these boats. I was fishing out of New Bedford one winter. So I'm coming across these boats. We're tied up like 5 deep on these boats. It was a gale of wind, so we tied up with one of the last guys. We just come in a big gale of wind. So I'm walking across these boats, and the light was on in one of the whalehouses. I knew a couple guys that fished on that boat, but they had just left the light on. And I looked inside, I peered inside the wheelhouse, and on the fuse box of this boat was this fisherman's prayer, and it went like this. A fisherman stood at the Golden Gates. His face was worn and old. He merely asked the man of fate admission to the fold. What did you do down on earth? St. Peter asked, to seek admission here. I was a fisherman for many, many a year. The gates swung sharply open as St. Peter pressed the bell. He says, come in, my friend, you have had your share of hell. Because St. Peter was a fisherman.
Right.
So,
Right.
and I always felt, in all the gales of wind that I've been through, and believe me, I never told my kids this or anything, but there was a lot of times that I almost didn't make it home, you know, and that's just part of the racket. You get caught in the weather, but I always fish with competent skippers and competent men. I'm a good man on a boat. I'm a good hand on a boat, and I always had good jobs with competent guys. And if I seen anything otherwise, it wasn't worth it. I don't care how much money they were making. If you don't come in, if you don't make it home, what's the good of it, right? So, but, like, that's one of the things that was instilled in me growing up. I started fishing really young, like around 16, and I graduated from high school, but I was one of the only ones that graduated from high school out of my gang, believe it or not, but because we all went fishing, and that's what we did. And every year, Fiesta was really in our hearts and souls and our heritage. And we had a lot of pride and prestige we brought into it. And
Right.
that's what it was. It was like a communal thing.
Right.
It was just our little community. We welcomed everybody down the fort. We opened up our doors, but we all were fishermen, and we were so happy that we made it through another year, and we see each other, and we drinking was part of it and all that stuff, but it's not what it's all about.
Drinking's part of every
It's not-
celebration, but it isn't.
but it's not what it's all about.
No, it's
Right.
about tradition.
I don't want to get have anybody out there to misconcept what I'm saying. Like it's like we would all go on the pole and we would get hammered. I mean, and I'm not just talking booze. We would be out of our minds by the time we got up there sometimes. But, you know, that's what the times were at the times. It was the late 70s, middle 70s, when I started walking, 80s, you know, which I really don't remember those decades, to be honest with you. But anyway, that's another story.
So let's not forget that you were a father to two girls.
Single father.
Right?
Yep.
You were a single father to two girls that ended up being absolutely amazing.
They're great kids. That's my
So
pride and joy.
let's not forget that part, that you had such a legendary part in this city, but you were a single father to two girls.
Yeah,
and they follow now in your tradition.
Well, it was instilled in them. See, they see how worked up I would get every year, and that carried on to their generation.
She starts the countdown in January.
Yeah.
I start the countdown Monday after.
Because they grew up down the fort too.
Right,
They grew up with
right.
me down the fort. We lived down there most
It's the most wonderful time of the year, people.
Yeah.
It's the best.
How does it make you feel knowing that now you have Emmett in your life?
I would love to see him win when he was 18. When I walked home, I wrote an article to the Times. I was out in a gale of wind again. We were out in like a 60, 70 mile an hour wind in the middle of winter, and this was like after I won in 2000. It was like in January, and I wrote this long letter to the editor about how it was when I won in 2000. How I was walking home, and I was the paper boy for years down the fort when I grew up down there. So I knew all the old people that were still there. The Lasita lady come out of her house. She goes, "All right, Frontiero," and all these old people that I used to deliver papers to were praising me as I was walking home full of grease with the flag. And the feeling of just the community and sense of growing up down the fort, and it was, and I expressed this all in a letter, and they put it in the Times. I just got in on a huge trip, as a matter of fact, and the guy gave me the newspaper. He goes, "Look, you're in the paper," he said. And I go, "Wow, they finally printed it," right? And I had to express it in a letter because it was just something that, again, is just like I grew up around all my life. And those red poles is like anybody that grew up down the fort remembers the red poles. When they put the red poles up to string the lights up, that was when you knew that the fiesta was in the air. You know,
Kind of like when they start putting the lights up now.
The banners.
Yeah.
Start to see the banners.
Yeah.
So are you still at the fort or no?
No.
Okay.
I moved out a while back, but it's kind of hard to get back down there now. See, in the old days, this is a pretty funny story. Like in the old days, growing up down the fort, all the Italian families, if you moved out of the fort, you was moving on up. Now everybody wants to move back down there. Because they know how big. But I always knew, like I had my own little playground down there. I literally had a playground on the water. I had an abandoned fish factory to play in. We had all these things that were swimming all. We swam all summer long. You know, they grew up on Pavilion Beach too. I don't go to any other beach all summer long. Someone sees me on Good Harbor, they say, "What are you doing here?" Like
Are you drunk?
Are you lost?
Do you know where you are?
Yeah, like people. I never go on that side of town.
Do we need to
because
call
it's too packed,
Sam
and I'm happy and content on Pavilion Beach.
The lounge.
You know.
Yeah.
I love the Pavilion Lounge.
Well, we are at an hour and 13 minutes. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It totally flew by because I could just sit here all night.
I know.
I just want to go to Sam's house and be like, "Oh, your dad's there? Can you tell me more stories?"
So, Sam, is there anything else you want to talk about? Tell us about anything about your past or anything about your upbringing or anything that has to do with Fiesta, honestly.
Well, my father was an offshore captain in Gloucester, one of the best in Gloucester, Captain Boogie Frontiero. Sam Boogie Frontiero. I'm Sam Jr. He used to carry flags in the parade. My uncles carried the statue. My father's brothers. Oh, see, my grandfather owned a house where the hotel sits now, next to that tin building. That was our property, right there. That's where we grew up, right? And then we moved out of the fort. We moved into the White House at the end of Beach Court. That was moving out of the fort at the time, believe it or not. Okay, you know when they broadcast the Fiesta with those sports?
Yeah.
That's where
Sam Nicastro had
right
done for years.
Right. I grew up in that house too. Okay, when we moved to that house when I was about 10, but I grew up. I spent my whole childhood down the fort, and again, this is something that was instilled in me as a child. I just hope and pray that this doesn't go away. That my grandson Emmett can grow up and say, and I hope I'm around to see it, say, yeah, my Norno. Say, ask me what you want to be called. Do you want to be called Grampy? Do you want to, I said, no, I'm Norno. I'm old school.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And I hope that people will tell him about his Norno, the way I talk about my grandfather and my father and just the generation thing, and that's what it's all about. Basically, it's all about family. It's all about religion. It's about the few fishermen that are left, unfortunately. Government. I don't want to get into the government intervention thing and all that because we can be here all night. But it's all about the guys I still have a few bodies that still do it. I had to retire because of my ailments and stuff, but I just hope it carries on, and I hope that sense of pride, and people bring that pride and prestige to the Greasy Pole when they're walking for whoever they're walking for, and that's what it's all about.
Do you carry the statue for?
I used to. For 10 years, I carried.
Okay, but you don't carry any of the statues for anything.
No.
You're completely retired from everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
I carried the Mother Grace statue too for a few years as well, because my grandmother, my father's mother, was very involved in that. Okay. And I do the sign of the cross every time I cross. I pass it, but that's just something I do. But I'm a very nostalgic person. I believe in tradition. I was raised in tradition. It's instilled in me, and that's what Fiesta's
it's very
all
much
about.
Instilled in your daughters as well. So
that's,
you've done a very amazing job.
The day that Gloucester decides to shut this down, she's going to be like, fuck no, this is my holiday, damn it.
Yeah, no,
chained myself to Theater Square.
I would like to even see it go back to what it used to be, just a religious festival. Yeah. But, that might happen too. But the carnival generates a lot of money, and they need it. They need it to keep it going. And I applaud those guys in the committee. A lot of people say stuff about them, and personally, I don't want to do it. And they have to volunteer a lot of their time, and they do a great job every year. Yeah. And there's all these liability issues nowadays, and we're not just the Grease Bowl, with everything. Everybody's so crazy, and it's just it's
a shit show.
Because you're a winner, someone can walk in your name every year?
Yes.
So, who's walking in your name this year?
I haven't decided yet.
Contenders.
No one's approached me yet.
Oh, so they have to approach you? You don't approach them?
No.
Okay.
No, because if they don't want to walk for me, I don't. That's cool. But I'd like to see my name mentioned.
Nobody wants to walk. Say nobody walks for you. Say 3 years down the line, 4 years. Can someone still walk in your honor? Is that a forever thing?
It doesn't go away.
Oh, okay.
You're a champ for
say
life.
Emmett wants to walk in your honor 18 years from now. He can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah. Awesome.
That never goes away.
That will probably want to walk Friday and win on his own.
Your legacy,
like he should. But yes,
literally, your legacy will never die.
I am the 87 2000 Greasy Pole Champion.
Yes. It will never die.
I'm proud of it.
Yes.
Well, we thank you for coming out tonight and talking on the podcast. I know that you've been very excited since Sam told you.
Yes, I am. This is my
I was
this
very
is my
excited.
first.
I'm still very excited.
I didn't even know what a podcast was. I still got an 8-track tape player at home. You know what I mean? But anyway,
are you kidding?
I'm just kidding.
No.
She's just wiping the sweat off her eyes.
Yeah, no.
Pools.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
So usually we just say peace out, but will you honor us with the
I had to learn this.
E come siamo tutti muti?
Viva San Pedro!
Viva!
Viva! No, let's do this again. You can do it the more.
E come siamo tutti muti?
Viva San Pedro!
3 times. E come siamo tutti muti?
Viva San Pedro!
Buona fiesta! Everybody have a good time this year. And more important, be safe.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you, ladies. This has been a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, that was probably the best Fiesta Cast we've had thus far.
Oh my god, and she did tell us that he is a character. I mean, before we even pressed record, he was like, let me tell you a story.
We're like, no, wait, don't tell us the stories yet.
Hold on, please, hold on.
Yeah, so I mean, and the fact that, you know, a lot of people are really going to be interested in listening to him because he has stories, he has behind the scenes, you know, all sorts of stuff. So I can't wait to get this out there, and so everyone can see it, everyone can hear it.
Yeah. So this is your last podcast in this house.
Yes, it is.
How do you feel about that?
It's bittersweet. I mean, we've been here for over 10 years. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's different moving on.
And how do you feel about like not being able to just walk down to Seaport or Stones in the snow adventure? And
what? I can still make that shit happen. I mean, it's
gonna be a far drive for you to go home at night.
Yeah, I'm gonna be working in Gloucester for right now. So as long as that's happening, like, I can just do stuff after work. Or I don't think Peter's gonna be able to live without an Azorian salad for very long. So I mean, even though there's amazing places in Amesbury and Newburyport up there to see, I mean, it's not like we're not gonna be down here. Like, my kids are primarily, well, except for Talia, she's going to be primarily in Rhode Island, but, I still have to come down and get Tyler, or probably, that kind of thing now. So now I've got, so it's not like I'm disappearing for good,
But it's going to be hard for you.
It'll
not
be
going
different.
to be easy to get to the beach and whatnot.
No, although I am going to get my sticker. So I still
You're
will.
a bitch.
Still gonna get my sticker because if I have days, then I definitely will come down. Saturday or Sunday, it's a good beach day. It's much easier to come down here than it is probably to fight the Hampton Beach traffic and that kind of jazz.
That's a good point.
So when you have a beach sticker, I can just come down here and get right in, no problem.
Wow. And now it's not going to be easy for me to just walk across the driveway. Let's go get sushi. Half off sushi. Let's go.
No, now we got to plan shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I can't because this one has that and that one has that. And Tyler's off his meds, Talia, how do you feel about it?
About about moving in general? It
Yeah.
doesn't make a difference to me. I'm going to be here mostly, but it is weird. I'm going to miss the dogs.
Right, but how do you...
No, it doesn't affect me, right? I mean, we've been packing stuff up, and it's not weird to me, because, like, a lot of my friends recently just moved, and everyone's, like, crying, like, I've been here my whole life. And, like, so have I, but it doesn't, I don't know.
It hasn't hit yet.
It hasn't hit yet. I mean, it might...
When she drives off campus, you're going to be, like, fucking sobbing.
We're also going to college.
Yeah, I think that's why it's not, like, the whole moving and everything happening right now isn't as big to me, because I've been preparing for it.
Right.
Because you're going to college.
Because also where you're staying at your dad's, you've been there all your life too.
Yeah.
So it's not like
it's not like I'm readjusting. Like, I only have to make technically one adjustment.
Yeah.
We're going to college, so
Right.
packing. You're gonna learn how to eat ramen real good.
no, Auntie Celia will make sure that never happens.
Well, I figured we'd just end. Usually we don't have this long of a closer, but I figured it was the last podcast in the house.
Yep.
So I figured we would close it out like this. I'm pretty sure Peter's going to be the only one that listens all the way through. Maybe Sam.
Yep. I think
Maybe
Sam
Sam.
will. Yeah.
I think you're definitely going to skip right to the end.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I just replaying the two of them here. It was probably the funnest podcast I think we've had thus far.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
And also, he was our oldest guest for the most part.
Yes, he is. with the most history. He's got the most history.
God. Yeah, we'll have to, put him in, make sure that Craig definitely talks to him.
Absolute no brainer.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are signing off from 10 Friend Street with the blue door.
Forever. Peace out.
Bye.
It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.